Hi everybody, it's Maria Tash. I'm coming to you live on Instagram, and I rarely do these things, and I'm excited to be with you today to talk a little bit about my new collection, which this is the biggest collection I've launched to date. Let's get going. I want to show you what I've done. There's some themes that you'll see that come up. One is just the innovation. So you'll see there's some new diamond cuts that I worked on, which is really exciting. It appeals to the old science major in me, where you think about the number of facets and how can you create a stone nobody's seen before. There's other themes too. You'll see movement. I personally love movement. A lot of what you'll see on me shows I just love movement. I think it's because I have long hair, but also there's a place for structure, and that's also one of the themes in the new collection is structure, and I'll go into that and what I mean by it. But movement is something I really like, and then you can combine the two. We have something very rigid and just a part moves, and that also is intriguing and part of some of the new pieces that I have too. But some timelessness in the sense of these are pieces that have classic stones, and that you can use them in all different parts of the ear, and they can be heirloom if you want them to be. Of course, a lot of the brand is about what do you like and buying for yourself, and that's some of the fun and the power of, I think, the Maria Tash brand, because I think I'm that person, right? I'm the Western woman who's buys stuff for herself, doesn't wait for somebody to buy me something if I really want it, and I do it to make myself feel better, and it can be celebratory, it can be a variety of reasons, but I'm very pleased that also a lot of our pieces are genderless, right? We'll have really proud of our new campaign. When you see the images, they're beautiful, and they have a man as well. It's so great to bring men back into the advertising fold for Maria Tash. And you know, we shot men in the early 90s when we saw like about 50% of our clients were men, and they always have been. It's just that like they've come back, and there's no reason not to show them. Our jewelry's never been segregated by men and women in our cases. You just come in, and if a piece speaks to you, that's the reason to get it. So you'll see in the campaign that both men and women can wear the same pieces. I love that, and that's always actually been part of the brand. I want to show you some of my favorite looks. I put some pieces on myself today as well. One of the timeless and I would say next generation is the 3-spike eternity and the diamond spikes. So really the idea was, well, how can I create a diamond spike? Because spikes are, you know, it's such a part of, like, I think the beginning of body jewelry, and it's always played a part in a lot of my designs. And this 3-spike eternity, where you have these diamonds or a plain ring with 3 spikes coming off, is so iconic for the brand now that I was like, well, how do I do this in a way that's like with a diamond spike? So there was a whole process of trying to get a diamond cut in the lengths and proportions that we already had the gold cast in. We approached several cutters, and then just to get we were limited by the size of some of the rough that we could get, and this is like an 8mm long spike. It's not that deep, so which is good, right? So you can keep some of the cost down, but you get this bam, this like really long diamond spike. And then we also have these 2 side ones cut. And then, you know, it's on an eternity ring, which is also very, very identifiable with the brand. And I really like these 2 upper ones are suspended. We have this little technique that I work on, invisible settings. So we have 2 of those. And the long guy is held in by some very minimal prongs. And we did that deliberately. So I love this, right? They have the 3-spike, and then we have the single spike. Then I have some of my other stuff, which I'll go into. Yeah, so here's a 3-spike just coupled with a couple of matching eternities. So the stones here match the stones there, same pave setting, same size of diamonds. It's really nice. I really like it. It's I think it's a next gen of the 3-spike eternity. Beautiful. I like it. And it's comfortable. I test ran it. I slept with it. We do all these things before we release to the public. We have other things called crescendo bars, and I actually have a music background. Many a moon ago, I played violin from like age 9 to age 14. I was fairly serious about it, and my mom, bless her, like used to drive me into the city for private lessons I tried out for Juilliard pre-college. I had a lot of stuff in the music world when I was very young, but that played a role in the name of the piece. So crescendo, of course, You escalate up, or in this case, from bigger to smaller, decrescendo. So these are absolutely, I mean, I think they're beautiful. We made them as climbers, which means it has a support wire behind the piece so it doesn't turn, right? If you had a traditional post or some of our tash'd threaded posts, which we'll use for a different application, they could turn. So this is held in place. We've thought about it, love it. The other thing is this invisible setting. So you'll notice that a lot of our diamond studs are special, because I didn't want to just put out diamond solitaires. It's got to be a little different. I don't want to see a prong setting. I don't want to see a martini setting or a bezel. These are invisible set, which means we take the diamonds, we cut them on the side, and we push the metal in so they just look like float. So it incorporates this really low profile setting that's inherent to the body jewelry world, and yet we created a diamond solitaire that didn't exist. So I just want to see diamond. I don't care about the metal around it right now. So these invisible setting is how all the stationary parts of the crescendo are set. And then we hang out. We didn't put movement on all of it, just the first couple of stones, and they are floating, which means we treat the stones, we make a hole in the stone, and we hang them off just for a little bit of movement. The hole in the stone, once again, is about, we kind of call them pierced diamonds, all puns intended. We got the first hole and the second hole, and it creates this illusion going up. Of course, you could start this piece here, but I kind of like the separation. It's really pretty, right? It's like, right? Like a little separation in the music score. I like it. Continuing with the crescendos are the tash'd threaded versions. You've got the movement here. I'm really pleased about this inner conch, sort of a high conch placement. This is a really, I think, underutilized part of the ear, and I'm going to go into that more with the Tash hidden Rook, which I'm very proud of. But this is a high conch, and we put a shorter version of the cascade in there. It's really sweet, has the same movement, the same invisible setting, the same floating or pierced diamonds. And I really like it. We coupled them just for the look, and you'll see this in our campaign shots, with the floating pierced diamond charms, right? So you have obviously some symmetry there in design. I love little, I wear 5mm rings over here. Most people wear like 6.5s, but I have some home piercing jobs that I did in the late 80s here that I still hold on to, that I hold dearly, because me and my buddies, we did it, right? Like I pierced myself, and it's sometimes when my colleagues look at my piercings over here, like, oh, Marie, it's so shallow. I've had it for over 20-something years. They're fine. It's good. So I wear my little rings, and I love them, and I hang charms off them all the time. The charm, for some reason, does something for me. I can't even explain it. It takes the plain ring, and it just like, I like it 10 times more with the charm on it. I'm not sure why, but we utilize them. I can always take the charm off if I don't feel like it, but putting the charm on is definitely what I do. And I sleep with all, I sleep with all this. So speaking of charms, you'll notice there's more of these floating or pierced stones hanging off of beautiful Marquee Diamonds. So I love a Marquee Diamond. It's actually very popular for a lot of our clients, Marquees in pairs. They're floating, so they're hanging in the same way with no setting. And Marquees are really great, I think, also because you get a lot of surface area, and they're not that deep, so that means you can get a really big stone, and it doesn't cost that much, actually. And I just think it's really nice because it kind of also sometimes looks like an almond eye. And I know, like, with my heritage and my father, oh, he's got beautiful almond eyes, and I would hear that over and over. And you'll notice, like, I've also done a lot of eye jewelry, right? I'm wearing my eye ring. And so I do think, like, vaguely there's like a little eye reference to that. Whenever I would doodle eyes and stuff. So I love a Marquee. Now, of course, you can hang Marquees vertically, and they don't look so much like an eye. But I just love them because they're also kind of a little edgy, right? They come to a point, so they work well with our spikes, and there's like some continuity there if you want to couple them together. I'm really pleased that we took the time and found these itty-bitty pear diamonds that were hanging off of these stones. So nice. They're so beautiful, especially when they're not covered in metal, and just hanging off an edge of the pear, almost like a tear from an eye, right? I mean, that's sort of the inspiration. I saw like an old Dali painting as well with a clock in the shape of an eye and a tear coming off. I always remember that, but of course, it is part of the motivation to have that little drop, and it's beautiful though. And we also put 2 more diamonds, and I did that high conch piercing location again because it's kind of unexpected. Very few people do it. And I really like it. And here, of course, they match. You can wear one without the other. And so the movement, the big marquee stays stationary. So this looks very minimal, but there's a lot of work that went into this. I want to tell you about it. So this is kind of like in the charm department. You know how fond I am of charms and how I hang them off of things, and even my little floating pear and round tassel, which I wear these all the time, like daily, and I always get compliments on them when I wear them here or there, and so I'm very fond of these. But I thought about how can you combine a charm and a stud and create a new hybrid, and we did it. I'm very pleased with them because I wanted like studs usually stay in place, right? They can turn on their own. You got to set them straight in the morning, but I wanted to get movement, but have it fixed. So you don't have to have a ring, right? So how do you suspend these stones in a way that they can move and they're not held? And I wanted them also to emerge out of unexpected parts of the ear. So here we have a new piercing placement called the tash'd hidden rook. The rook is this flap of tissue. It's not the anatomical name, but the vertical piercing straight up and down on that flap is known as a rook, and it's pretty embedded in culture. But I wanted to utilize under this area to have something emerge out. For many, many years, I would do this piercing with like curved barbells, and there'd be a stone here and then something emerging out the bottom. And we did have some stuff hanging, but it really was this vertical piercing through here that you had to have a top and a bottom. And I just wanted studs and charms that I could hide. So this is actually pierced vertically under that tissue, and it's a threaded pierced charm. We touched on structure earlier. What does that mean, structure? Like the ear is full of cartilage, which holds it up and creates this, arc so that sound can go into your inner ear, and so you can hear things. So, but what's really nice about the industrial, like ear projects and industrials of the 90s when they came out, and I was actually very fortunate to be able to study in San Francisco at Fakir School in 1992. And some of the people that invented the ear projects were there and teaching. So I was really lucky to be part of that. I got my doth pierced in 1992. And I loved it. I've had it ever since. And this is sort of the modern version of ear projects. So these are structural apsara bars. So they incorporate the invisible setting, right? No prongs or bezels over the stone, so you just see planes of light or planes of diamonds. And here we created a look inside the conch. It's a single piercing there and a single piercing on the top in the helix. But of course it creates the illusion that it's coming out like an old school project, but you don't need the two piercings. You can do it this way. And if it tries to turn, it's stopped by the flap. I thought about it. Well, why do you need it? The flap will stop it from turning, so you don't have to have the two piercings. Here you have structure. So this appears like it's a bar holding up the ear. And of course it doesn't need it, but I like the idea that it creates the effect like the ear, it's like amplifying the structure of the ear or implying that the ear will flop without the structure, which I kind of like. It's an artsy touch. Here we did it so that you have this look of one line. I mean, if we had moved this over, then it would look out of line. You can choose that deliberately, but I like things that usually are readable. You can appreciate the design more if it's in a straight line, the two pieces are in a line. So the apsara bars, we have them in a couple of lengths. I think some of the shorter ones sell better than the long ones. I personally like the long ones because they're kind of dramatic. So the last thing I want to show you are our metal tassel bars. They're beautiful. I want to show you all the little details about them. And we have a whole new part of the new collection that are not diamond. So many of you don't want diamonds, and that's perfectly fine. And we have lots of wonderful additions that you can play with and add to what you already have and have some fun. So here you have chain wraps, right? We've had these before, but I really like a chain wrap. They're so comfortable. They're next gen to an ear threader. And behind these chain wraps are a chain connector. So we have, I like this like slightly shorter, slightly longer. We worried about the lengths of the chain so that they would hang perfectly. They connect to anything. So we have these cute little handcuff jump ring on the top of them. So you can hang them on the front. You can hang them behind the studs. In this case, we put it behind, but you can have a lot of fun and versatility. They'll also reach up higher if you want to, so they can connect things that are far apart or close together and still look good the way the chains hang. So that's great. Here are the famed metal tassel bars. Part of the reason I really love them is they have like little granulation on them. So it incorporates my favorite, like round and pear. So I'm wearing them up here in diamond, but I first started wearing them in the gold versions. And it has like 3 little balls on the bottom of the pairs and stuff. So like that's the granulation detail that is really special. It has a bar that holds it in place to have that sort of that industrial look, and then you have all that motion and continued the motion all the way up. The designs themselves actually get smaller as they go in. So there was some experimentation with keeping the design the same size, and we ended up wanting to go a little bit smaller. Really nice, 2 lengths as usual, 18 and 11 mil for the lengths. So I think these metal bars really go great with plain gold rings. And once again, they're in 3 colors of gold: white gold, yellow gold, rose gold. So I would love for you to discover the new collection. We have it online, we have it in the stores. If you want one of our stylists to just look at you, suggest a color of metal that'll resonate with your skin tone, I love that. And you know, we can fit these jewelry, you can hold them up. We have really great ways to simulate everything before you actually get pierced. Or if you just want things installed, you don't have to come in to get pierced. We do fittings all the time. So come on in and we can show you the best fit and hold things up so you get an accurate preview and that you come away loving what you have. I'm really proud of this collection and I hope you love it. So please find us online with our virtual stylists, through our website, and in any of the 6 stores we have worldwide. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope you love it, and of course I welcome your feedback. Bye, you guys.